It is Monday, September 20th. Welcome to CBN Newswatch. Ahead this hour, Pfizer says its COVID-19 vaccine is safe for children ages 5 to 11. We'll bring you the latest. Plus, online media giant Google bans pro-life ads.
It applies to any organization who are trying to promote something that's called abortion pill reversal.
One advocate talks about why its actions are causing such great concern. And America's biggest woke corporations. One author says it's a secular religion.
It isn't a religion based on God. It isn't a religion that offers a path to redemption, but it is a secular religion nonetheless.
He shares solutions that will help those fired for not agreeing with its policies. All this and more are next.
This is CBN Newswatch.
And we begin this half hour with Pfizer announcing its vaccine is safe and effective for children ages 5 to 11. Preliminary results from its study show Pfizer's vaccine gave a robust antibody response to children in that age group. The trial inoculated 2,200 children with only a third of the dose given to adults. The research suggests it is well tolerated with minimal side effects similar to adults and older children. Data to determine if a booster is needed for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines could be just weeks away. Despite the FDA's independent panel rejecting Pfizer's booster for all recipients last week, the FDA and other regulators will review the data for both boosters and vaccines for children. Results in children under 5 are expected to come later this year.
And although there have been inroads made by masking and doing other things, we're still not where we need to be for children to be able to grow up and have a full childhood and all the way through adolescence. And so I see this as urgent for many reasons, the social reasons as well as the immediate impact in reducing hospitalizations and illness.
And some more COVID-related news to share. The White House is set to ease COVID restrictions, but now require foreign nationals traveling to the U.S. to be fully vaccinated beginning in November. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem says the Biden administration's actions are unbiblical. She made those comments while discussing her pushback against the White House's vaccine mandates, abortion, and the spiritual state of America. CBN's chief political analyst David Brody has more.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem says she's ready to fight the Biden administration's recent federal vaccine mandate for private businesses.
What President Biden is doing by these mandates coming down to businesses and employers that employ more than 100 people is unconstitutional. The Constitution clearly states that there are limited powers for the federal government and that all other powers are delegated to the states. So I will, as soon as that guidance comes out, be filing litigation. And I have told the president that I would see him in court.
On the topic of vaccines and science, she lowered the boom on Dr. Fauci. What's your take on Fauci? Do you think he should be fired?
Well, Fauci's done a grave disservice to this country. What he has done is discredited our health officials. He's been political. He's not been consistent. He has not followed the science. Therefore, his credibility is down to zero.
While Noem's praise for Fauci is non-existent, it's the opposite when it comes to Texas's pro-life heartbeat law. It may be controversial, but Noem is taking a stand. Do you want to see a South Dakota law just like Texas? What's your view on that?
Well, we reached out immediately to those who drafted and worked on the Texas law and are consulting with them on how that bill would fit in our statute as well. So, yes, I think it was a fantastic win for us.
She also went on the offensive on telemedicine abortions. Biden administration policy allows for women to get abortions without seeing an in-person doctor first. Her executive order did away with that in South Dakota. She says this administration has been ungodly.
What they are doing and the actions they're taking are not biblical. And I know they many times talk about being religious, but I think that it's really time for all of us to look at the actions of our leaders and see if they line up with the Word of God.
Which leads us to the spiritual state of our nation, a stand Noem says is crucial for our nation to survive. Where do you see this fight playing out in America from a spiritual standpoint?
Well, we've seen our society, our culture degrade as we've removed God out of our lives, and people become what they spend their time doing. I really believe that focusing on those foundational biblical principles that teach us that every life has value, every person has a purpose, will recenter our kids and help us really heal this division that we see taking over our country.
It's an uphill battle for sure. David Brody, CBN News.
It's being called the largest expulsion of migrants by the U.S. in decades. The first group of migrants seeking asylum under a Texas bridge has now arrived back in Haiti. Dale Hurd is following the story.
The U.S. is flying Haitians camped in a Texas border town back to their homeland and trying to block others from crossing the border from Mexico. Planes left the airport in Del Rio, Texas. On board, some of the estimated 13,000 people, mostly Haitians, who were living in camps underneath this bridge on the border.
We've never seen anything like this. This is completely and totally out of the norm of anything that we've ever seen.
Crowds so massive they could be seen from far away. The Haitian migrants who had already been living in Central and South America before converging on the border do not want to return to their home country, which has been rocked by political violence and natural disasters like the recent earthquake. The White House expects to transfer 3,000 of the migrants away from the bridge by the end of today, saying they'll use a Trump-era health policy which permitted the expulsion of migrants without allowing them to seek asylum.
We have authorities by reason of that special circumstance, and we will exercise those authorities.
The Haitian government does not want them back. The New York Times reports Haiti is asking the U.S. for a humanitarian moratorium on the deportations. But overnight, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced 600 more border agents are being sent to Texas to expedite the expulsions. Texas Senator Ted Cruz went to the Del Rio Bridge and tweeted this video of the thousands of Haitians. Border officials are now patrolling the river and stopping migrants from crossing into the U.S., while officials try to prevent a humanitarian disaster under the bridge.
We are bringing additional resources to assist with security, migrant care, transportation, and processing. We are providing food, water, portable toilets, towels. Emergency medical technicians are available for first aid.
It's another weekend of violence in Chicago. At least 6 people killed and 37 wounded in shootings all across the city. Around 2,500 people have been shot in Chicago this year. That is up 9% from last year. Across the country, murders are up 16% over last year. Those numbers are being reported in a new study from the Council on Criminal Justice. I want to give you a quick look at a few of the stories making headlines in the CBN newsroom at this hour. A volcano erupted in Spain's Canary Islands off northwest Africa overnight, causing lava to spill. The lava is flowing at 700 meters per hour in a mostly unpopulated area. About 100 homes have been destroyed and 5,000 people evacuated. So far, though, no reports of injury. Firefighters battled a wildfire at the Sequoia National Forest in California. As you see in the video, the flames overtaking a giant tree, the fire quickly spreading across 34 square miles of forest. The National Park Service says the fire reached the westernmost tip of the giant forest, scorching a group of sequoias known as Four Guardsmen. The SpaceX Inspiration 4 crew is back on solid ground after traveling into space. The 4 civilian crew members traveled at 17,500 miles an hour at 367 miles above the Earth. During the flight, the crew spoke with children at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital and has surpassed its goal of raising some $200 million for the hospital. Coming up, pro-life advertising banned by Google and what it could mean for the pro-life movement. Stay with us.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep. as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
The online media giant Google recently banned advertising from the pro-life group Live Action. Originally, all of the group's ads were banned, but one was reinstated. The reason behind the ban and Google's policies are of great concern for Live Action founder Lila Rose, and she joins us now with more. So tell us what happened with the initial ban of the ads and what you were told.
Absolutely. And this ban by Google of Live Action's ads doesn't just apply to Live Action. It applies to any organization, including Heartbeat International and other pro-life groups who are trying to promote something that's called abortion pill reversal. Abortion pill reversal is a technology that's been used now for years by hundreds of medical professionals, and it can help save the lives of children. It's actually saved over 2,500 lives. The way that it works is there's 2 abortion pills, which abortionists sell to women. The first one is called mifepristone. It kills the unborn baby by blocking progesterone. So what pro-life doctors have done is treated this first abortion pill if the woman regrets the abortion and wants to reverse it with FDA-approved progesterone to help that baby actually survive and to ultimately grow and be born. So what's really devastating here is Google has now blocked the promotion of the hotline to women who regret their abortions of this FDA-approved progesterone drug. And now women can be promoted abortion pills too. They get those promotions from Google, but they can't be promoted given the life-saving antidote through advertisements.
Let's take a look at the ad about baby Olivia and then talk about it on the other side.
At 11 weeks, she is playing in the womb, moving her body and exploring her environment. Her taste bud cells have matured by week 12, but are still scattered throughout her mouth. Her mother will first sense Olivia's movements between 14 and 18 weeks, an event called quickening. Beginning at 18 weeks, ultrasounds show speaking movements in her voice box. Around 20 weeks, with a lot of help, babies have survived outside the womb. At 27 weeks, her eyes are responding to light. She can recognize her parents' voices and will even recognize lullabies and stories.
So, Lila, what happened with the story of baby Olivia in the video ad here?
So what you just saw is a beautiful clip from Live Action's one of our latest video releases. It's medically accurate, lifelike animation of human development in the womb. It's been viewed over 10 million times. And we had ads promoting it because it helps save lives for people to see the humanity of the baby in the womb. Google banned that ad as well last Tuesday after coming out publicly about it and admonishing this crazy act of them banning it. Google did reverse it, and now we can advertise the story of baby Olivia. But what is still banned at Live Action by Google from being promoted is anything related to abortion pill reversal, which is this incredibly important technology that has saved 2,500 lives. And any other pro-life content actually that we have in our account has also been banned. So we have man on the street interviews with people sharing their pro-life stories. So right now, the only ad being permitted is Baby Olivia, which you just saw. Everything else, including abortion pill reversal information, is banned.
Now, Google said it was simply following the policies because there's questionable medical facts. And you mentioned the whole work of the abortion reversal pill. Tell us about that response.
Mm-hmm. Well, what Google is saying here, I mean, it's not a surprise in the sense that there are pro-abortion groups. So American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, which is very pro-abortion, has said that they disapprove of abortion pill reversal. They don't like it. They don't think it's good. And so they're telling Google, oh, it's not a tested medical technology. Well, there's another association of American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists who say this is an absolutely safe technology. It's been used and saved 2,500 babies. And they have studies that they're conducting right now, and also the body of work they've already done on the technology to show they're using FDA-approved progesterone. So it's not like this brand new drug that they've invented. They're using something that's been on the market and FDA-approved for dozens of years to help healthy pregnancies happen. So it's really, I think, cynical and disingenuous by this pro-abortion group ACOG and by the Google policy team to choose to side with the abortionists. They're not actually siding with any studies or science here. They're really just going off of ACOG lambasting this pro-life resource. And that's why we're fighting back. You know, we're showing, look, we're making the case to Google, listen, there is information out there showing the efficacy of this. It is safe for women. It's life-saving for babies. And Google, why are you making the choice for women? Why are you choosing abortion to be promoted to women, but not the life-saving remedies that can stop an abortion midway if it's a chemical abortion?
So you're making this case. Do you think Google will reinstate your ads as you challenge these decisions?
Well, they did reinstate the Baby Olivia ad. And they, in the past, you know, when we've worked behind the scenes with different tech companies that had censorship issues, because many of them lean very pro-abortion, you know, they're quick to, I think, suppress pro-life messages. We have had success in the past. Not always, but there's been some. So I'm hopeful that we can find reasonable leaders at Google who we can work with to show that this is not, you know, unlike with the pro-abortion, you know, hit job that's been done on this, that there's actually no evidence that this is harmful, that actually there's plenty of evidence that this is very helpful. This is an FDA-approved drug. This is not a problem. And I think that, you know, and it actually increases the ability of a woman to have her baby after that first abortion pill has been taken by 68%. So there's actually a study that's been done that shows that. So I think the more we get the research out there and show that case to Google, the more helpful it is. But it is problematic. You know, bias reigns at many of these tech companies. They can be very far left leaning and unfortunately very pro-abortion. So it's going to be a work in progress.
Always important to hear all sides. Lala Rose with Live Action. Thank you so much for the work you do. We'll continue to follow this story.
Thanks so much.
Still ahead, woke corporate America and the rights of its employees who have different opinions. We've got that story for you when we come back.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
America's biggest corporations are increasingly adopting an ideology known as wokeness, and it's at the expense of employees and beyond. One author hopes his new book will wake up Americans from this poisonous dream, he calls it. Jennifer Wishon explains.
Wokeness has become so pervasive across America's institutions, from schools to corporations, that Vivek Ramaswamy argues it meets the Supreme Court test for religion.
Wokeness is a secular religion. It isn't a religion based on God. It isn't a religion that offers a path to redemption, but it is a secular religion nonetheless.
In his new book, Woke Inc., Ramaswamy lays out legal solutions for people who've been fired for not ascribing to this religion of wokeness.
When you have a moral vacuum that runs that deep, that's when secular dark religions like wokeness start to fill the void. And as we have seen, the kinds of things that used to fill that void, patriotism, faith, hard work, on the decline or nearly disappearing, that's what allows wokeism to effectively become opium for the American soul.
The son of immigrants, he's a product of Ivy League schools and founder of a biotech company that's developed a FDA-approved drug for prostate cancer. This year, he stepped down as CEO of his company to focus on a cultural cancer he believes is threatening the American dream that allowed him to achieve so much.
In the name of diversity, we have actually sentenced true diversity of thought to execution.
He proposes adding political speech and belief to the list of protected classes, which he says is needed to fight a form of discrimination reaching scary heights.
In my opinion, it is certainly far more rampant than racial discrimination, which we instead obsess over. I think we need to apply those standards even-handedly.
And now, as multinational American companies like Coke, Disney, and Nike impose this new religion, he says foes like China are benefiting at the expense of the United States.
What they've recognized is that American wokeness, they even have a word for it, Baitsu. This is a cultural weakness.
Because he says America's greatest asset on the national stage isn't our military might, it's our moral standing.
They get companies like Disney or Nike or associations like the NBA or celebrities like LeBron James to criticize the United States relentlessly for alleged social injustice. But they do not say a peep in China. In fact, many of them even praise China. And the reason they do it is that is their condition for being allowed to enter the Chinese market.
And he says the hypocrisy is astounding.
One of them is Disney's hypocrisy in particular, saying they could not shoot a film in the state of Georgia if Georgia passed an anti-abortion statute, the equivalent of a heartbeat bill, a couple of years ago. But last year, they shoot Mulan in the Xinjiang province of China, literally ground zero of the Uyghur human rights crisis. And not only do they stay silent, at the end of the film, they actually praise China. They thank the Xinjiang authorities. At the end of the film, in the credits, you can see it today. Those are some of the same authorities that are responsible for enslaving the Uyghurs.
How are these big tech companies using the woke corporate culture to their advantage?
What you're seeing right now, especially in big tech, is big government is now dispatching big tech to do through the back door what it could not directly do under the Constitution, namely to censor political speech and alleged hate speech and misinformation that it did not like to see online.
All while enjoying legal protection from liability. In his book, Ramaswamy argues if tech companies are acting as agents of the state, then they should be bound by the First Amendment of the Constitution. Do you think your immigrant roots make you more sensitive and clear-eyed to this issue that America's facing?
This isn't a country that you inherit. It's a country that you have to play a role in building. And part of the role you play in building it is actually espousing the beliefs that define this country.
And Ramaswamy wants Americans to once again celebrate the values that bind us, like the American dream. He sees more and more Americans waking up from that dream. And once you wake up, You often forget what it was all about. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
Coming up, retirement isn't in her vocabulary. We're going to have one centenarian story and an inspirational story to live. Follow us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
You would think by the time you reach 100 years old, you're long past retirement age, but that is not the case for Maine's oldest lobster harvester. At 101, Virginia Oliver has no plans to retire.
I've always done it, so now I might just well keep right on doing it. Well, you have your own boss. I used to be a stitcher, you know, at a pants factory. I like that better.
Nice, and the job is a family affair for Oliver. She first learned the trade from her dad more than 90 years ago. Now during harvest season, she works the traps with her 78-year-old son. The two still use her late husband's boat, which bears her name, Virginia. Now, for your Monday motivation, this is a thought I hope will bless the start of your week. God is always God. Circumstances do not dictate his reign. In the valley, he's God. On the mountain, he is God. It's up to you. You must choose to trust his reign. With that word, be sure to make this a marvelous Monday and have yourself a wonderful week. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.